Well, what is going on, gang? Welcome back to the Therapeutic Edge. It's very nice to have you here today. I have something very cool on the table from an unexpected source. This is a cold steel. You can tell because it yells cold steel at you from the back. This is the Full Metal Atlas, the FM1. And this is amazing. Now, this has been out for a little while. I hadn't heard about it because I was out of the game for a bit. When I went and poked around how people were feeling, it's not cold steel, it's too little, it's blah, 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 blah. Look, cold steel, I am a fan, makes big, almost dumb big knives, right? They do. They make monster knives, and I love that. Don't get me wrong. But they don't have to stop doing this in order to do this, and they're not going to. I mean, the Recon 1, I love this knife, right? This thing is an absolute monster. By the way, this is just a Spyderco pocket clip. If you just use the 2 screw holes, works beautifully as deep carry. It's got their triad lock. Then, of course, there's the best knife ever made for any reason, honestly, the 8010. This is not my 8010. This is just another one that I happen to have around at this point. This is one of the newer ones, flat grind. The one that I carry and keep in my camping stuff is the original hollow grind. But this is, Demco's triad. This thing is just, it's amazing. And, of course, there's the new Engage with the Atlas lock. And the reason that's relevant is because this also has an Atlas lock. Now, I like this knife. I don't like it as much as the 8010. I do like it about as much as the Recon 1. These are just beast mode, excellent tools. But what if you want something a little lighter, a little leaner? Well, the FM1. So I do like the Atlas lock. It takes a little practice, by the way, to figure out, because you reach up here. But once you get used to it, it works really well. Now, this is 180 degrees out of phase with like this thing, right? Where this is decidedly bulky, it is chunky and heavy. The FM1 is an absolutely competitive pocket knife in the lean and light pocket knife world. So if you like bug outs or 940s or even stuff like not this one. This is the Iridium Auto. We'll talk about that later. The Iridium. This is a great knife. Now, I want to share something with you. I am not thrilled about the new ZT 0044, which is weird because it's light, right? It's well made, all those things. The difference is that ZT has stopped making their big beast mode knives and replaced them with these little, this is like a Super Kershaw, which, by the way, is not a bad thing, but you're paying ZT dollars. We'll get to that when I review this. This, on the other hand, is just a really well-sorted and thoughtful direction for a company that is still making monster knives. So, let's take a look at the Full Metal Atlas, the FM1. First, I think it's beautiful. I just do. The blade shape is lovely. The milling on the titanium scales is beautiful. I don't need the big Atlas on the back, but nobody asked me. It's got a really nice deep carry pocket clip. It is really lean. Let's do some size comparisons. Here it is against the Iridium. And as you can see, if you like the Iridium, even right down to sort of the blade shape, you're going to like the FM1. Now, the FM1 is more expensive than the Iridium, but not more expensive than the fancy Iridium. Where did I find that? The FM1 comes in at about $200. So it's, $10 or $20 more than the fancy version of the iridium. Okay. $20 here or there is not the end of all things. $200. I got mine for less than that because it was on sale. For $200, you get S35VN, you get their Atlas lock, you get titanium, but where it really shows itself is the fitment. Now, I'm a big fan of a knife company called TRM, Three Rivers Manufacturing, and their entire sell is that their stuff is very lean and the fitment is really beautiful because they spend a lot of time putting their stuff together. Cold Steel isn't known for that. So what they did here is they showed us that they could do it, and I'm on board with that. So there was the iridium. Here it is against a full-size Griptilian, or in this case, the Ritter Hogue. It's a little bit longer in the handle, but blade length is almost exactly the same. And then our old friend, the 940. Right. This is a great knife. It disappears in the pocket. It is comfortable. Now, I've heard complaints, it's too thin. Benchmade made a knife called the Narrows. I don't have one of those because I'm not going to spend $500 on a super thin Benchmade that offers nothing special except that it's super thin when you can get one of these for $200. Yeah, if you're looking for a lightweight carry, seriously. Let's get some other specs out of the way while we have it lined up on the table. From tip to tail, we are coming in just at 8 inches, which is a nice length for a blade, for an overall length for a knife. We are talking about 3 1/8 of cutting on 3.5 inches of S35VN. The grip is just under 4 inches, a little over 3 1/4. It's a nice size handle. Closed length. It's going to chew up about 4.5 inches of your pocket, which is not bad. At its widest, man, this thing is sticking to the mat. We are coming in at 1 1/4 inches, right? So from here to there, not bad. They did a good job here. What do I have? It's even got a nice deep carry pocket clip. I got to have something. Hold on just a second. There we go. Now the pocket clip is a little grippy, but I mean, look at that, right? Little tiny bit of knife sticking out, but nothing intense. The screws on the pocket clip. Now the clip isn't buried into the titanium, so there's a little bit of a step there, but the screws are flat. They disappear. They gave you access to remove them, and it is reversible, which is a really nice feature. The Atlas lock is nice and tough, and the action is very good. Do more of this. Don't stop doing this, but do more of this. If you want to be competitive in today's knife market, working in these materials, S35VN and titanium, I mean, that's everybody, right? Keep the price at $200 or below like you're doing, and you're going to sell. Anyway, this is good stuff from Cold Steel. It really is. Now, I heard some complaints, the shape of the handle keeps your hand too far away from the knife. Look, here's the thing about the internet. One of the reasons I don't do negative reviews. It is easy to complain about things. It takes no effort. The world is full of things that I don't like and you don't like and they don't like, and who cares? Is it perfect? No. Is it $200? Yes. Does that make it cheaper than most Wies and Riots? And yeah, it does. With equally good materials and an overall build quality that is as good, as anything I've gotten from one of those high-end companies in a very long time. So if you don't like the way it's shaped, don't buy one. On the other hand, if you want to support companies like Cold Steel in doing new things, pick one up. Give it a try. You may like it. I know, I was shocked when I got this thing in my hand. For as thin as this is, it doesn't feel weak. The lockup, of course, with that Atlas lock is wildly strong. There's no blade rock. I mean, there shouldn't be, but there isn't. This is a well-sorted cutting tool for $200. Let's break out the magic calipers. We'll talk about how thin this thing is. All right. So, S35V end blade. At its thickest back here, you only get 2.6 millimeters, right? That is a very thin slice of S35. It has a really high, almost saber grind, right? So it's got a really high grind, a little flat spot right here. So it comes down all the way to a very nice edge. It is sort of a thick cutting bevel, but that's Cold Steel, right? They're not going to grind this thing down to wafer thin because this is not what they do. It cuts really well. It is an excellent cutting tool. The handle, at its thickest, 8.4, where are we landing? There we go. Sorry, 8.2 millimeters. By way of example, the iridium here is 11 millimeters. This is as thin, if not thinner, than a bug out, and just made of materials that I would much rather have in my pocket full time. Let's weigh it. Where ZT is giving up on its big knives in the interest of selling overly priced small knives, Cold Steel said, let's just make a really good, small, thin, light knife. And then they did. Okay. 3.9 ounces. Now, a bug out is 1.9. Some of the more ultralight knives come in around 2.5, but less than 4 ounces for this much titanium and steel, including the entire Atlas lock mechanism. That ain't bad. It's hefty enough that you know it's in your hand. Obviously, because it's titanium, there's no flex, right? Like you get on the G10 or other ultralight knives. Anyway, this is the Cold Steel Full Metal Atlas, or FM1. I think probably my favorite Cold Steel knife since they created with Demco the 8010. I hope you've enjoyed this look at it. I know I've enjoyed owning it. And on that note, we're going to wrap up. Thank you so much for your time today. I hope let me try that again. I hope you all enjoyed this look at the FM1. If you have any questions, feel free to ask down in the comments below. I'll post a link in the description to where you can find one if you're interested. I really appreciate your time today. And remember, take care of yourselves and take care of each other.